Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Crystal, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. It's been a good week. It's been a long week. I did a lot of editing and working on our videos and stuff. I'm just glad that everything is finally starting to come out. So I'm happy. I'm excited. How are you?
I am feeling the same way you feeling for real. Like it's been a long week, to the run up to this thing coming out. But I'm glad it's out. Like
Me too.
We are in the thick of the thing. The train is moving. It's left the station.
Mhm.
So I'm feeling good.
Yes,
I'm
me too.
excited about this week, Crystal. It's another Am I the Asshole kind of week.
Mhm.
So, as is tradition, you are up first, Crystal. What
Thank you.
do you have for us?
So for our Reddit rabbit hole, I always have to say that slowly because
Because somebody gonna get wet messing with
wet
wet
it rabbit hole.
The wetted rabbit hole, y'all. When you see, if you look closely at the video portion of our podcast, you can see us. You can see us hit the bricks on our words. We be like, yeah, we finna get to the Reddit rabbit hole, and it's like a speed bump of words,
Yeah. Like I'm so conscious of it that there's always a little bit of a pause right before I say it, just because I'm like, say these slowly. I'm telling myself, say it slowly. Say it. Let it hit. Yeah.
Let's get off these speed bumps before we wet some rabbit. And there it is. And there it is. Goodness gracious. What are we? 2 minutes in.
I know.
Okay, and I'm wetting up rabbits. Golly.
Just like I can read, I can speak. I swear I can speak.
I won't say the same for myself.
Okay. So this is Am I the Asshole? The title is Am I the Asshole for Judging the Breakfast My Husband Makes Me?
Okay. Because I already have thoughts.
Okay. My husband and I had a baby around a month ago. Hubs is back at work and I am on maternity leave. Lately, my husband has been making me toast every morning as a little treat for me before he goes to work, and it's such a sweet gesture. All I've been craving post-pregnancy is peanut butter on toast. But the thing is, his toast, I can hardly call it that. He barely toasted. The middle of the bread has only changed color very slightly, and the edges are still perfectly soft. It's warm bread, is what it is.
Warm bread.
It's warm bread.
What? She said you set my shit on top of the microwave and called it toast. Like, what are you? Okay.
You pushed the button down and went dink. There we go.
Oh my God.
Have you ever had slightly toasted toast? It's confusing. Be bread or be toast, but if you try to be both, then you're neither.
And you know what? Points were made there. Either you gonna be toast or you not.
Right. I feel like you switch some words around. That can go for a lot of things in life.
But you know what? That's by toastio erasure. And we don't do that here on this podcast, okay? We don't do by toastio erasure here. I won't stand for it.
You won't stand? Okay.
I won't stand for it.
And while I do appreciate that he's making me a meal, and I know in my heart that it's the thought that counts, I just want actual toasted toast back in my life, especially as it's all I'm craving. I've mentioned it several times in the last week or so that I don't mind making my own toast, but he insists on making the toast for me before he goes to work. And I eat the barely toasted toast because I don't like food wasted if I can avoid it. But then because I've eaten the barely toasted toast, it'd be too much food for me if I made myself a second piece of actual toast after he's left. So I don't get the toast taste I've been craving. So the other day when he was going to put the bread in the toaster, I know, just wait.
I'm
I know.
sorry, because
I
I
know. I know we're
okay.
having the same thought. Just wait.
Okay.
Just wait. So the other day when he was going to put the bread in the toaster, I asked him if he wouldn't mind leaving the bread in there just a little bit longer this time. He asked me if I
Mhm.
didn't like his toast, and I said, "No, I love that you've been making me toast. I just wouldn't mind it a little bit toastier." He got a bit annoyed and said that he gets up earlier to make me my toast every morning, and now he felt like I didn't appreciate his toast. I, I said I did appreciate his toast, but would appreciate it more if it were actually toast.
Toast. You know what? Because you know what? I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna
Okay.
let you finish.
Maybe I shouldn't have put it like that because he told me I could make my own toast if I didn't think he was up to the task of toasting. I said I would, and I
Well,
think this hurt him even more.
ooh,
I feel like we've always asked for and given feedback on dishes we cooked for one another previously, so I thought it'd be okay. Should I have kept eating the bad toast? And am I the asshole for bringing it up with him?
okay. I am so confused. Okay, can you go back like 4 lines and read that again?
Is there a like, so I feel like we've always, you want before that? I feel like we've always given each other
Yeah.
feedback.
'Cause
Um,
the thing about her, if it was, she would appreciate it if it was toast. It was somewhere around there.
so she asked him if he could toast it a little bit more. He asked if she didn't like his toast. She says, "No, I love that you've been making me toast. I just wouldn't mind it a little bit toastier."
And you know what? It's come back to me now. Sir, if you're getting up extra early in the morning to make her toast, then why the hell do you have the toast set on 0.5? Why do you have to get up earlier for that? If it's gonna be toast, then I can see you waking up earlier because it takes time for it to
Right.
toast. Then you know what? And that's the point on him, sir. Why are you in here giving this lady lukewarm bread in the morning? Her butter don't even melt when it hit the bread. Do you know how pissed off? Let me tell you something, because I'm getting mad. Do you know how pissed off I would be if somebody bought me a piece of toast and I'm sitting here like my mouth salivating now thinking about it. I got my nice salted butter. Don't let it be no honey butter. I done bought my good 11.99 stick of honey butter out here, and I'm expecting I expect you to pull this toast up out the pits of hell. That's how toasted I want it to be. I want it on a demon between a demon ass cheeks. Boom. I want it toasted. And I expect to put my honey butter on it and it to melt before it even touched the surface. And you gonna come in here and bring me this Wayne Brady ass toast that some of y'all would get that. That was a good joke. Some of y'all would get that. The rest of y'all catch up. You done bought me this Wayne Brady toast and expect me to be grateful. Now that's me coming on her defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let me play devil's advocate. I mean, brought his name up already. I mentioned hell. Is he bringing her the toast in bed?
Maybe, I
Because
guess.
this is where the confusion is hitting me, right? Unless
She,
you are in the bed when he's serving you the toast,
mm-hmm.
why aren't you getting up and walking back over to that toast? She act like you can't continue toasting the bread. Like she act like once it's toasted, it's tainted, and the toaster is going to explode on the counter if you put the toast back in there.
Well, I am assuming that he, like, when he makes her the toast, like, he puts the peanut butter and everything on there because that's what she's been
And you know
craving.
what she did say it was peanut butter toast.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And you know
This,
what? Then it pissed me off even more because I do like peanut butter toast. And that bread need to have a crunch to go
mm-hmm.
along with the peanut butter. Otherwise, you eating the peanut butter and bread sandwich. Like you might as well fold that whole over in, you know what I'm saying? Like we used to do back in the day.
Yeah. My favorite. So this is why I like this story so much because it's such a they just had a baby. Their household
Mm,
has changed, they've got a new dynamic going on. So
mm-hmm.
this is such a very tiny thing that blew up for
Yeah.
them. And I love the
Mm-hmm.
simplicity of it because this is about toast. Where they're arguing about toast right now. And it's funny to me because one, he talks about how he gets up earlier to make it takes at max a minute to toast. You're telling me you're getting up a whole 5 minutes earlier.
For him, it takes a minute because he's not making toast.
But that's what I'm
but
saying. That's
but
what I'm saying.
okay,
For
okay,
him, for
right,
the way he's
right.
making his
It's
toast,
taking him a
it's
minute.
taking him
Yeah.
like a minute. So you're getting up a
Mm-hmm.
whole couple minutes,
That's
2
why
minutes
I asked, what the
earlier.
hell are you getting up early for?
Like
Because
I'm imagining this argument and her being like, I just want it to be toastier. Do you know I get up earlier to make this toast for you? And and it's like, yeah, 2 minutes.
yeah,
You go ahead and take those 2 minutes and you sleep in. It's fine.
because it sounds like he don't know that there is a dial on the toaster
Right.
and what that dial does. Because
Right.
if you know what,
You can
boom,
preset it.
man brain. You know, on some toasters where it has a little piece of bread with the little waves on it, he probably has it set on that, thinking, "Oh, that's toast."
Right.
No, sir, that's a bread warmer.
Well, that's warm bread. He's getting what he thinks he's
For
asking
those of
for.
y'all out there who did not know that, because I probably taught y'all something, that is the bread warming function. Some of your toasters, if you pull this little handle on there, sometimes it's on the front, sometimes it's on the back. If you pull that little handle up and then set your bread, the two little prongs will pop up, and you can set your bread on top of that, set it on a warm toast warmer or bread warmer, and then push the little button down, and it'll warm your bread for you. You should look for that next time you go buy a toaster. Anyway,
Thank you. Thank you for that.
he's probably doing that,
Right.
and that's why her bread is warm
Right.
and
And
disgusting.
so my other thing that I love about this is the fact that for maybe this is just, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but the fact that a single piece of toast is more than enough breakfast for her. You can't have like 2 slices of toast is too much. That's for you, not me. No.
That's me. You know me. I don't eat breakfast at all. I don't eat until like, if you leave it up to me, I won't eat till like 2 o'clock.
I just imagine with having a baby, I'm, and this is me assuming. I don't know if she's actually doing this, but I'm assuming she's breastfeeding at, because she's still on maternity leave and stuff like that. I would just think you would be hungrier because your nutrients are being given to your child. So a single piece of toast, that's crazy to me.
Well, actually, that ain't crazy, because my wife, she eats, that is literally what she eats in the morning. She eats a piece of toasted rye bread with Nutella.
Right, but was that all she ate when she was breastfeeding?
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
because
I mean, I've never been
I would
pregnant,
make that.
so
Yeah, because I would make it for her in the morning when
okay.
when she had first given birth. I
Something
made
I
that
didn't
for
know.
her. Yeah, she eat that every morning.
But yeah,
And
that
I'm
just
sitting here
cracked me
thinking
up.
like, because I was agreeing with you, I was like, yeah, I guess for somebody who actually do eat breakfast, that is so
Mm-hmm.
tiny. But she actually do eat it every single day, and I
Yeah,
do
I
make
don't
it for
know.
her sometimes. And I actually have gotten the critique of, you didn't toast my bread. So hold on, was this shit written about me?
Well,
I have literally been in this, and you know what I did? I corrected my actions, and I cranked that hoe up to 1,000. Anytime she asked me to make, I'll turn it all the way up. You finna be eating charcoal in here this morning.
So she gives a small little update. She says, Hubs apologized. He told me he was just overtired, wow, words.
Now we jinxed ourselves at the beginning of the podcast. Wet rabbit hole, y'all.
I know. He was just overtired / stressed about work and the baby. And I caught him in the absolute worst minute, which makes sense because he had just started going back to work. So I'm sure. I apologize for not telling him earlier. Get this. He started making the toast less toasty because the first time he did it, I was recovering from a cold. So he didn't want it to be too crusty for my sore throat. Then when I didn't say anything, he kept making it because he thought that's the way I like it now. Guess that makes me the asshole after all.
Ma'am, you need to get away from this man. This man is a master manipulator because he made that up.
No.
He,
See,
Crystal, he would have brought that up in the first argument. Ain't
no.
no, he sat back and he thought about that and he was like, she was sick one time. And I can use that as an excuse for why I started making her toast that way. And then she didn't say anything. So I'm not the bad guy for being sweet and getting up and making her.
Don't ruin the
Sir, I'm on to you.
romance.
I'm
Don't
on to
ruin the
you, sir.
romance.
Romance. First of
It's
all,
sweet. So sweet.
you. No, I can't even say that because I already told him myself. I already told myself. If you give me a direction and it's something I can actually do, I will take that direction.
Mhm.
But if you pop off at me
Right.
about that direction and you haven't communicated to me this before and it's been built up inside yourself, you done had this conversation with yourself 1,000 times and then you let it all come out to me as you've had that conversation with me 1,000 times. Well, you ain't got to worry about me making you a goddamn thing ever again. You will starve in here before I go to that toaster.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I may unplug that hole from the wall and throw it in the trash can. Ain't nobody in this house having toast ever again. You better throw that hole on the stove.
You
That's
know
all I
what?
can
I
say.
just, even though, like I said, most of these stories, they tend to be they can be really dramatic. I just like the wholesomeness of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a, they're
That was
just
cute.
Yeah,
That
they're
was
just
cute.
starting a new chapter in their lives. They have a new baby,
Yeah.
all these couples, they have these little fights like this. So I thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
All right, so
Sir, no, ma'am, you are not the asshole in my
you're not the
opinion.
asshole. I agree with
Barely.
that.
But you are not the asshole.
And I don't think the hubs is an asshole either.
No.
Yeah.
My boy he's a manipulator, but he's innocent. He's innocent in this case. But I got my eye on you, sir, because I'm sure we will see another letter from you. We will see another letter about you.
Okay. So you've got something for me now.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Crystal.
try and pay better attention to what you were saying.
Now. Okay.
Because apparently I zone out when you speak.
This one here, I'm gonna keep it real because Crystal and I had a pre-show meeting, and I had to completely rewrite this letter. See, last week's episode, right?
First episode.
I was, what did Fergie say? You got me tripping, fumbling,
yeah,
clumsy with the way I was reading it, and that was because I didn't take the time to rewrite it. And the grammar was horrible, no punctuation, so on and so on. So actually this week I took the time because this was the worst letter I had ever seen. I actually took the time to rewrite it. So I will read my own writing. If you go look it up on Reddit, it will be a completely different story because it made no sense. So I had to fix it. So
this person, if they ever hear this story, they're going to be like, this
right. If they wanted to sue
familiar.
us, they would have no grounds because they're like, ma'am, this isn't the same story.
We didn't copy.
So, we didn't copy anything. I made it better.
We did what all our teachers told us to do. We rewrote it.
Exactly. So this one is
made
entitled,
it our own.
Am I the asshole for leaving the table after what my father-in-law said? Ooh, here we go, y'all. My husband, 29-year-old male, and I, 26-year-old female, were invited to my in-laws for dinner yesterday. Everything was going great until my mother-in-law brought up my husband's player phase in high school. My mother-in-law was just jokingly saying, honestly, him in high school, I'd have never thought he'd actually settle down with somebody. And my father-in-law was like, yeah, even less with someone like you.
Ooh.
I asked because boy,
okay, I'm gonna let you finish.
Woo,
I'm gonna let you finish because
the fork and the knife would have been across that table before I even thought about it. Crystal, yep. Let me finish. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
She did exactly what you and I are thinking right now. I asked him what he meant by that. Both my mother-in-law and husband were then like, please no, in a, oh, he's gonna fuck up kind of way. My father-in-law then said, well, you weren't exactly his type in high school, you know? My husband tried to make him stop after that, but my father-in-law added, not saying you're not pretty enough or anything, you just wouldn't have caught his eye. I got up from the table and went to the bathroom. I was not even in there for 5 minutes when my husband knocked on the door and told me that we were leaving. Once we were home, my husband received a text from his mom saying that my reaction was childish and disrespectful and that we wouldn't be invited again until I apologized. My husband replied that I would only apologize if my father in law apologized first. He didn't get an answer, but his sister texted me telling me I needed to apologize ASAP because I was putting my husband's relationship with his parents at risk over a misunderstanding. Am I the asshole?
No. No, and you know what? If
Woo!
he
Yeah.
hadn't said that last part, he might have
Mm.
gotten away with it. Because it could very well mean, you're so
Mm-hmm.
well put together, you're so nice, you're so good.
And my
He would
son
have,
was a hoe.
right. You are
Mm-hmm.
too good for him. I never thought
Exactly.
he would. But the fact that you added that, sir, you called her ugly. You did.
I mean,
To her face.
in front of her salad.
Right.
You call her ugly in front of her salad.
And my thing is the wife knew this was not okay because she was given the look like, please stop. Please stop.
Please.
So how can you then try and defend his actions? That to
Mm-hmm.
me tells me you're the
Mm-hmm.
type of person who sits there and listens to that and just
Yep.
accepts it. You can't be
Yep.
mad at someone else for not doing that.
Exactly.
I would have gotten up and left
Exactly.
too. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so happy. I'm so happy to hear that the husband took her out of that situation because so many times I
So
hear
many
these
times,
stories. I
Crystal.
was waiting for you to
Yes.
tell me,
Mhm.
when he knocked on the door that he said, you're being childish, come back out here and sit down and stop it. I was waiting
Crystal,
for it.
we are used to men being hell on earth in these
Mm-hmm.
letters.
In these
They are
letters.
never on the right side.
No.
That's why.
So
That's kind of why I had to bring it because I was like, "This is remarkable.
yeah. It's
A man
it's
actually doing the
actually
right thing."
on
Okay,
these Reddit stories, it's actually rare to hear this
rare,
type. So
rare.
I'm so happy to hear that he got her out of there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily agree about her even needing to apologize because what else was she supposed to do? You're insulting her. I,
The way that my mouth is set up, I have a. You know what? I'm not gonna put all my business out there actually because I was about to say something that was gonna get me in trouble. But I do not, especially for family.
yeah.
I do not hold my tongue. It
No.
is it is a thread with me. If my
Right.
family, if y'all watching, y'all know that's why I
And you
stay
know what?
on my side of the bridge.
People need to stop defending their family as if they can never
Yup.
do any wrong. The fact that the sister
Come
then
on.
contacts her and be like, you know what? You need to make the effort because you're ruining the relationship between the father and the son. No, honey,
Yup.
did you talk to your brother? Because he does not feel this way. You're not doing him any favors. He
Mm-hmm.
he recognizes that his father was wrong. He opened his
Yup.
mouth and said it and then continued with the insult even after they were like, no, please don't do it. Don't say it. Don't say it. He still continued. So
It was the
no.
pure audacity of that man to
Mm-hmm.
look her in her face and being like, I'm not saying, you butt ass ugly, but I'm
Right.
saying like, you a little hard on the eyes, bitch. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Are you kidding?
No.
How dare you? And you over here across the table from me looking like Yosemite Sam in the face, telling me? that your raggedy ass son
And it's always
wouldn't have looked twice at me?
someone who, you know, maybe doesn't look the best, that
Couldn't
has
pick a
that,
pig out of a lineup for a date.
I'm
Okay?
trying not, I'm trying to be nice about it, because
I'm
everyone,
not.
right. But it's always those people, because they just feel the need to, I don't know, there has to be, there's got to be some issue, like he has to have some underlying
Mhm.
maybe issue with her, and this was his
Yeah.
time to say
Mhm.
something. But yeah, not the asshole in the slightest. Do not,
Not.
I repeat,
Not.
do not bend to the pressures of this mother-in-law and this sister. This
Do not.
is, because at the end of the day, it is his decision if
Come
this is
on.
something that's going to cause them to have friction. That's his decision,
Mm.
because it is his
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah.
If he decides that, he wants to try to salvage it without an apology,
Mhm.
that will be his decision,
Yeah.
because that's his father.
Right.
And as far as, the whole invitation, it sounds like you got some free nights coming up.
I,
Date night.
because you know what? That would have put the nail in the coffin for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would have been on the phone so fast. It would have been the fact that you insulted me to my face and then turned around and then called me childish and
Right.
disrespectful for walking away when you all disrespected me to my face. But
Right.
then for you to use like the dinner as some type of weapon or punishment if
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Right.
act accordingly, that would have made me pick up the phone
Right.
and be like, you don't ever have to worry. Matter of fact, don't you ever in your life speak. That would have been, honestly, that would have been the end of the relationship for me.
Yeah, I would have just countered it.
It would have
Well,
bled over. It would have bled over into the relationship at that
yeah.
point where I'm like, this, there's no way for this to be healthy.
Yeah. I would
You
have been
can
like,
blame
oh,
your
well,
parents for this.
we don't plan on ever coming over to dinner until he apologizes first. Call it petty, call it whatever you want, but you insulted me. Even if
Correct.
you didn't mean to, which I don't see
Mm-hmm.
how you can't when you literally just called me ugly. But even if
Mm-hmm.
you didn't mean to, you did the wrong first.
Right.
It's that age old saying, you don't get to tell somebody that you didn't hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
She was offended. She was upset.
Woo.
You did that by your words and actions. You're the one who has to apologize. And you're older.
Can I take us on a tangent for a second? Because we got the time. Don't you find it crazy? Because you said a word there, Pastor Crystal. You said a word there, and I almost got up and ran around this living room here. You said a word when you say you don't get to tell people if you have offended them or not.
Mm-hmm.
When you have hurt their feelings. I, in this lifetime, have found that people really, really do believe that they get to decide when something they say to you is harmful.
Mm-hmm.
And they react in a way that's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Like,
not that serious.
it's not that serious. Or like, you don't know what someone has, like what kind of insecurity somebody has, or how they were feeling that day. You don't know what somebody then dealt with at the job, somebody dealt with at home,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit a nerve, and you got to be, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why
Right.
people feel it's easier to dismiss people than it is to empathize with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those roads are parallel to me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same width and the same length. It's the same distance.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't you take that other avenue and just be empathetic with the person rather than just shutting it off because you're afraid that you are wrong? Like, everybody's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
You about to
It's
have me
just, I
preaching up
think
here.
it's just harder for some people. There's just some people out there who don't have that empathy. And I guess because it's the
Mm,
same with me. I don't lack that empathy. So I can't put
mm-hmm,
myself in a position where I'm indifferent to people's feelings and how I've
mm,
affected someone. So I guess I
mm-hmm.
can't really make them, if they don't have that empathy, I can't make them have it either, you
Right,
know? So
right.
that's when I guess a compromise have to do. Well, is this something that's serious enough that you can look past it or you can't? That's just something you got to
Mm.
figure out yourself.
I would I'm really racking my brain to think of a time, here in the last decade of my life where I have really hurt somebody's feelings.
Mhm.
Like, can you think of a time when you like hurt
Not like
somebody's feelings?
yeah, I can think of a time and it wasn't intentional. I was God, it was probably I think I was working my second job. So I was a
Mm.
teenager. I was
Mm.
working as a busser. There was this girl, her name was Rachel. She was always very bubbly, always very smiley. We joked around a lot. I don't remember what the joke was,
Mm.
but there was a running joke we had. I would say something and she would always laugh about it. And it was something like if you said it in a different way, it could seem mean.
Mm.
I don't know an example that I could give right now because I really don't remember what it was. But every time she heard it, she would just laugh about it. She'd laugh it off. And then one time
Mm.
she finally said, "You know what? When you say that, I really don't like it. It really hurts me." And I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
I'm so sorry. I
Mm.
didn't know that. I didn't know
Okay.
because
Yeah.
she's always reacted as if it was being funny. So I always just thought it was like an inside joke between us.
Yeah.
But even though I didn't see it as anything serious or anything, she said it hurt her feelings. She didn't like it.
Yeah.
Never told her the joke again. Okay, absolutely. That's your thoughts,
You
and
know
that's
what? When you say that, that does because I qualified it by saying the last decade of my life because I don't think there has been that situation. But in middle school and maybe early high school, I think I wouldn't say that way, but I have done that. Like what you
mhm.
said, like you making a joke when you think I'm joking with this person,
Yeah.
especially in school and stuff, because you think you're joking with the person. It's
Mhm.
funny, we all making fun of each other, but
Mhm.
maybe everybody around me that heard that joke is laughing too hard at this person,
Yeah.
and I can definitely see how I was like, we just joking, like da 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 da,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
where it really or you try to do because I can think of a very specific situation, but I won't name the situation. But were you trying to do something nice for somebody, but you end up embarrassing the person
Right.
instead of the thing actually being nice for that
Nice.
person? Because
Gotcha.
then you kind of confirm
Mhm.
what that person's insecurity, so they
Mhm.
feel like you're trying to fix them.
Right.
Like that's one thing I look back on. I was actually thinking about that. I think last week
Mhm.
for a specific reason. And I was like, I was trying. I can't say too much, but
Right.
it was supposed to be a nice thing that ended up being a really bad experience for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
That I still think about to this day, where I'm like, damn, like I can't say that was like fucked up
Right.
because we were really coming from a good place, but the situation just ended up being so bad that it was like, okay. And you, I've I've never done anything like that since then.
Mhm. And it just shows you that even if the gesture could be something you think is nice, you don't get to decide if it's going to be offensive to someone else. You know,
Yeah.
you
Even when you're trying to do
just
good sometimes.
mhm.
You really, really have to read the room
Mhm.
and communicate with people and see where they're at
Yeah.
to be like, is this something,
Yeah.
even if you're trying to help somebody, is this something that you want
Mhm.
for me to do for you? Or would you
Yeah.
rather just me leave it alone,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, cuz
know,
it's
and
not
let
even
you figure it out?
something like, "Oh, let me see it from your perspective," because from your perspective, you can't see it from their perspective if you can't feel it. I guess that's the
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's harder, but you can't argue about it either. This person is
Yeah.
saying they're offended or they're upset or this hurt me.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Okay. I understand. I hear what you're saying. This won't happen again.
Like Crystal and I put the brakes on when we be trying to say Reddit rabbit hole. When you feel that hesitation to dismiss somebody when they done told you that something you said has either hurt their feelings, offended them, or rubbed them the wrong way, just look at it like a speed bump. Go over it slow. Think about it. Activate your empathy chip
Mm-hmm.
and really take your time. You don't even have to respond immediately. Just be like, my bad. Think
Right.
about it, come back later and be like, you know what, I really do want to, say I really did not even see it from that lens, and I'm glad you
Mm-hmm.
said it to me. And I won't do that from now on. Like I
Yeah.
really, want us to be cool. Like I thought we were cool. I thought that was something we could do, but obviously that ain't nothing we can do. So
Right.
let's move forward. But
Ooh, look at our little jokes becoming
look,
life
come
lessons.
come on, church. May the church say amen. I'm about to print off some church fans in here. I'm gonna need one. The
Our,
Tabernacle Mount Zion Baptist Church of the Most High in Christ. Hallelujah.
I can't with you. Okay, so we have
Mm-hmm.
a final story tonight. It's
Yes, ma'am.
another Am I the Asshole? 3 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
love these stories. Okay. The title is Am I the Asshole for Not Inviting My Sister to My Baby Shower?
Oh. Oh. Okay now.
Okay.
You better have a good excuse. This better be the
Okay.
sister from last week's episode. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen.
The first episode.
Episode 1.
Episode
Yep.
1, yeah. All right. My husband and I have been trying to have a baby for several years. We had a really hard time conceiving, but after a few years of trying, we finally got pregnant. We told our family the news and told them the baby names we had picked out: Violet for a girl and Carson for a boy. We unfortunately lost the baby in the second trimester.
Mm.
Then we
Mm.
experienced 2 more miscarriages, both in the first trimester, and went through a couple of more rounds of failed IVF. It was a very difficult and traumatic time for us. We visited my family over the 2022 hot winter holidays, and my sister announced that she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her until she told us the names they'd chosen: Violet for
Electric
a girl,
chair. Electric chair.
Carson for a boy.
Electric chair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I took her aside and told her that I was very happy for her pregnancy, but hurt and confused that she would choose our baby names, especially with everything we've been going through. And she basically said, "Don't try to pull the miscarriage card on me. You can't call dibs on a name." I tried. I know. I tried talking to her a couple of more times about it, but each time she say things like, "You might never have kids, you can't just keep those names and reserve forever," and was just so hurtful. I stopped bringing it up for the sake of keeping the peace, and after a few months, she told my parents she wasn't going to use either of those names, but wouldn't tell anybody what name they had chosen. Well, fast forward to a couple of months ago, and she gave birth to her baby girl, Violetta Carson. And I'm just so hurt.
I don't mean it. I have.
And mind you,
It's the fact that she called that baby Violetta.
mind you, so when the reader, because you can't see it, but the reader, when she showed Carson for a boy, it was spelled Carson. She names the baby girl Violetta Carson, but she spells it Krsyn. So hold on, I got a little bit more. Yeah. I found out in the early spring that I'm pregnant, and I'm far enough along now that the doctors feel pretty good about everything, and we let our families know last month. My mom and her friends have planned a baby shower, but I told her I don't want my sister invited. My mom said I'm being an asshole for not inviting her over the baby names. But at this point, it's not even about the name to me anymore. It's the malicious comments, the lack of compassion, and the overall pettiness. So tell me, good people of Reddit, am I the asshole for not inviting my sister to my baby shower? And one more thing for further context, prior to this, my sister and I were decent terms. She's always been competitive and attention seeking, and growing up, she'd find ways to one up me or make my special occasions like my birthday party or high school graduation all about her, but never to this extent. I have thoughts. So I don't know if you want to go first.
Let me before I forget.
Okay.
Let me just say this, right? I completely understand every emotion. I don't understand. I empathize with every emotion that you're feeling, right? And I completely think that you and your sister should have a very limited relationship moving forward. However, to me, the best petty course of action would be to let her come to this baby shower, to let her get you all the gifts in the world. Let her be around to help you put up the nursery, put some food in the house, when you about to have a baby, everything is so exciting. And then cut off all contact with her as soon as that baby is born. Don't put no bad karma on that baby or your pregnancy leading up to the birth of that child. Just let it be what it is. Don't if you want to let her see the baby, cool, whatever. But keep that contact very, 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 very limited. Because I don't think it's worth cutting your sister out your life over this. To me.
Right.
To me. I
Right.
don't think the name should be like I'm cutting my sister off. But I do think it should be, we having bare minimum contact until I can get over it.
Right. Because
it is disrespectful the way that she carried that.
But it sounds like it's not even about the names at this point. It was the malicious nature in which she responded to her, again, to her saying this hurts me, and you deciding it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I have, like I said, I have thoughts and I have opinions. And I will say this, that when I read this, I personally, I didn't see a problem.
With what?
If it was me, I picked these names out years ago. These are the names that I have chosen. These are the names that you knew I have chosen. No one person is ever going to choose a baby name that nobody else has. So as far as I'm concerned, if I have a girl, her name's going to be Violet. And if I have a boy, his name's going to be Carson. I told you what the baby's name. You decided to name your child the same thing. That's not my problem. They're not going to be in the same grade. They're probably only going to see each other once in a while. They're cousins. Your child's name is Violetta. My child's name's Violet.
Okay. Now, because I wouldn't understand what you were saying at first.
Yeah.
But now I get you.
I don't see the problem in it. No, she's absolutely right. You can't baby nap a name or whatever it's called or whatever. You can't gatekeep it or whatever. You can't. There's no one person. You're never going to find a name, no matter how you spell it, how you say it. It's never going to be so unique that nobody else in the world has it.
Unique? Sorry.
So I personally don't see that. I would have been like, oh, okay, maybe it'll make them closer in the end that they have similar names.
I mean, Violet and Violetta, cousins, that's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute, exactly.
It's kind of cute.
And me personally, I know the truth and you know the truth. So if we ever meet someone down there and they're like, oh, you named her after, it's like, no, actually, I told her these are the names I chose and she decided to do it. That's just going to be the truth. If you look bad, that's on you. But me personally, I just don't see, I don't think you should let your sister choosing this name, choosing this and getting it first, diminish your love of these names. If these are these are truly the names that you love, that you can't think of anything else that you love, because this is going to be your child. This is the one, you're going to have them for the rest of your life, then don't let her take that away from you. Name them what you want to name them. If, so that was my opinion when I first read this. I'm like, I just don't, because I read a lot of these. I read a lot of these where someone in their lives have stolen their child's name. And there's a few of them that I've read where they're like, we're going to name them this anyways, and the other person gets so mad about it. And it's
I,
like, I
listen
told
here.
you. I
Yeah.
told you what their name was going to be. You're the one who decided to
Mm-hmm.
also choose that name. So I'm going to
Yeah.
name them what I want to name them. Now, granted, if it's been a little while, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've thought about it and you might have found something else that you like. Because at the end of the day, she is saying it's not even about the names anymore. Like, it's more about
Yeah.
how she reacted. And I get that, you know, maybe she could have gotten over the whole naming thing, but it's the way
Mm-hmm.
you diminished her pain of having to go through these miscarriages. And for someone who just had a baby,
Yeah.
I would have thought you would have been able to empathize with
Mm-hmm.
her, because what if it had been you? What if you had lost your
Mm-hmm.
child before this?
That's
So,
the wildest part to me, and the thing that makes me like, okay, I do want y'all to still have, y'all should still have some type of relationship, very minimal relationship. But it's the fact that you made a point of saying like, okay, never mind about the names, and then surprising everyone with a remixed version. Like, you so deaf for somebody, like you gonna remix the names and be like, well, technically they aren't. Well, technically you aren't my sibling.
I was about to
Well,
say, because,
technically you're not allowed to my house anymore. Well, technically you were having a relationship with my child.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's funny that we're
That's the
reading
evil
something
part.
like this. We're reading something like this because we literally just talked about this when you were rewriting the person's thing. We're like, well, we just copied it. We didn't copy it. We rewrote it. We made it our own. This is not what we meant. This is
No,
not what we meant
no,
by
no.
remaking it and making it our
Because
own.
this
This
lady
is
went through real. I'm not gonna identify what she went through because I don't know what word she uses to describe it. But this lady went through several what a lot of people would describe as traumatic events.
mhm,
You know, trying to uh come to full term with a
yeah,
pregnancy.
getting your hopes up and
You know
losing
what
it.
I'm saying? There's a lot of
Mhm.
emotions wrapped up in that. There's a lot of, preparation wrapped up in that. She has to, you know, a lot of relationships don't last in that process. Like, people lose themselves, their relationships, they lose a lot of things. And, the IVF journey is expensive as hell
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
it
So,
is.
not to mention the financial burden, I won't say burden, but the financial aspect
Mhm.
is very, very real for people.
Mhm.
So for you to just, because low key, I would look at it as, you don't give a damn about me. Like,
Right.
you really, really don't care about me or what I've been through
Yeah.
at
Same.
all for you to do. Like, while the name itself isn't that big of a deal, like you said, I will still name my child this, especially since you remixed the name.
Mhm.
But it's the fact that you would even, the
Yeah.
fact that you would even get that close
Yeah.
to make the point to me, like, I don't care nothing about you. Well, if you
Mhm.
don't care anything about me, then why? Let's just end it here.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
just
cuz
end this relationship here.
it's not like she took both the names. She didn't
Yeah,
just take one of them. She
yeah,
chose both the
both
names. This
on
sounds more
purpose.
personal than it does
Mm-hmm.
about her like actually liking the
Liking the
names.
names, exactly.
So,
It's
yeah,
sinister. The
yeah,
word is
it
sinister.
is. Because like I said, I'm not someone I personally don't believe in someone uh having dibs on a name. I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
that's not a thing. Like, if I got pregnant and there's a name I really loved and someone I knew was like, "Oh, I really like that name too." And next thing I know they're coming out with it. I'm like, "Oh, well, our children's going to have the same names." Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not something that's a stress you don't need to put on yourself. But I do
Mm-hmm.
understand the emotions, the possessiveness that people feel towards this, because it's
Yeah.
a very common thing. You choose a name, you think, you have things going, and the next thing you know, someone that you're close with hears it and then chooses it because it is a you're choosing it because I'm choosing it thing,
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
if you can find a way to let it slide, let it brush off you, and just be okay with it. There's, someone else in the world is going to have the same name as your kid, and they might even be in the same class, and maybe they grow up, and your kids might actually love it. It might be the one
Yeah.
thing that brings them closer. We have the same name. We
Yeah.
have exactly the same name, Try not to
Yeah.
look at it as a bad thing, but in this case, with
In this
this sister,
case. Yeah.
I agree. I don't
This was
think,
vindictive. It was nasty. It was
yeah,
conniving. She schemed on you.
yeah,
She really played with you and your family by
mm-hmm.
naming taking both. She
Both.
wanted to make sure that she took possession of both
Yeah.
names in the midst of what you're going through.
Which is why I personally would be angry about it and allow that
Yeah.
anger
Yeah.
to make it so that you can be like, you know what? Again, if you
Yeah.
really like these names, name your kid that, regardless of
Did
how
she say if she
anyone
was
else
the
is gonna think.
oldest or youngest sibling?
I don't think she did say
She didn't
whether or
identify.
not, because I don't
Okay.
think she put her. Yeah, no, because she didn't
Because
identify.
I could see it both ways. Either this it really sounds like an older sibling who is
It
jealous of the
does.
younger sibling. It sounds
Yeah.
like the sister who stole the names essentially is the
Hmm.
older sister. And the
Yeah.
sister who was having trouble conceiving is the younger sister
Right.
who the older because sometimes the older sibling can be jealous of the younger sibling,
Hmm.
you know, for natural reasons. Maybe the
Yeah.
parents, in the beginning were, just building their life when with older sibling was born. So they didn't have all the amenities, they didn't have all the fun things.
Hmm.
And then when the younger sibling came along, they could get those things. So the older sibling was naturally jealous. They got to dote on the younger sibling more. So she
Hmm.
just brought that into her um adulthood and into her relationship, when her younger sibling became an adult. And that takes a lot of self awareness and accountability and therapy to work through.
Yeah.
Um and someone so vindictive that they steal, the names of the child that you have been trying to have and not being able to have.
Hmm.
That's mm-mm,
Yeah, I agree. Like I
mm-mm,
said, I think I was trying to say this earlier. I agree about, this may not necessarily be something that you cut her off completely, but
mm-hmm.
low contact definitely probably needs to be a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
minimal.
and you know what? I'm not saying this for the mom because I don't know what your relationship with your mom is. But if you do generally have a good relationship with your mom, maybe you need to have a serious conversation about how her telling you this is an asshole move really affected you.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
is a you obviously need to have a conversation with her, because I
Mm-hmm.
get being put in the middle. I mean, I don't get because I don't have kids, but I'm understanding that, a parent being put in the middle between their two children. But
Yeah.
again, going back to, you don't need to s- stick up, or your family, just because they're family doesn't mean they're right. So
Yeah.
someone has to be wrong, and it's definitely
Yeah.
not you. So this was definitely a not the asshole for
Yeah.
me. I do
Yeah.
have there's a couple of comments. The top
Mm-hmm.
comment looks to be like, not the asshole. I'm usually on team you can't call dibs on a name. Same. But the fact
Mm-hmm.
that she chose both names
I
you had
mean,
picked and is completely dismissive of the
yeah.
pain caused by miscarriage makes it seem like this is more about, yep, hurting you than choosing a name she really likes. I
Yeah.
said the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, someone said, well, she's now stuck with her daughter having Carson with a K for a middle name, so OP gets the last laugh.
And you know what? That is petty. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with it.
Honestly, I feel like everybody is on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Listener, if you have a differing opinion, I would really love to cuss you out in the comments. So go ahead, go ahead and let us know if you see it from a different perspective, if you know, or if you've been through something similar to what the original poster has been through, and you know, it, if you can share, if you feel like sharing how you would feel in a situation similar to this, you know, having been through what the original poster has been through, how you would feel if someone, you know, took close to you, took those names um before you got the chance to use them. That would be, I would love to have that dialogue, that dialogue in the comment section, because that is really, 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 I just can't fathom doing that to somebody. I
Yeah,
really can't.
I can't either. But I would personally, if anyone has done what I have suggested and has had someone stolen your child's name and you've ignored it and named your child the same thing, please send me the stories. Email it to
Ooh.
us. Email it to us.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, if it's something you're comfortable letting us, I would love to
T
hear
and
this.
Crystal at gmail.com.
Uh,
Send it to
Send it
us.
because I would love
Yeah.
to hear the fallout of it. That's
Yeah.
what I want to hear about. I want to hear how these
Ooh.
people reacted, how
Let
they
me tell you
felt.
something. If y'all be getting into fisticuffs and whatnot, you know, send us your fight videos, you know,
Right.
while you're at it. If y'all be out
And
here throwing bows, you know, I would, like Monique said, I would love to see it.
right? And I want to know if it made you feel better by not allowing this person to steal something from you, like to steal
Mm,
something from you. Like that you
yeah,
didn't let it be that. You didn't steal
yeah.
anything from me. You chose
Mm-hmm.
you heard or found or saw a name that's the same as mine. You liked it just as I get it. I like it too. That's why I'm
Yeah,
choosing it. So you chose it too.
exactly.
I want to hear how you allowed yourself to not let someone diminish your love of something you found.
Yep.
So,
So I think as a consensus, we can say that this lady is not the asshole for feeling how she feels about this situation.
absolutely. And
Sensational.
that is the
That
end.
that'll do it. That'll
That'll
do
do
it.
it.
Before we get up out of here, folks, I have to mention a couple weeks ago, Victoria Monet came out with her latest album entitled Jaguar 2. I am in love with this album. On My Mama, Hollywood, How Does It Feel? Uh uh so on and so on. Goodbye. The tracks hit and they stick like grits. It is an amazing album. I'm just telling y'all, go on Apple Music, go on Spotify, iTunes if you still buy music, go on YouTube. She got visualizers for it. The album is amazing. You will not regret it. It is, if you liked Silk Sonic's album, and I'll leave that where it is. If you liked Silk Sonic's album, this album is even better.
This is
This
Jaguar 2.
this is called Jaguar 2. Go ahead and listen
Gotcha.
to Jaguar 1 as well. Jaguar 1 is a phenomenal album. This album is an album with no skips. You are going to have a time. You're going to feel every emotion. You're going to feel every emotion. You're going to want to party. You're going to want to dusty wine. You're going to want to cry. You know, you're going to get in your feelings behind somebody. You're going to want to puncture a nigga's tires. You're going to want to key a nigga car. You know what I'm saying? It has the range.
Yeah.
It has a range. So go, that's Victoria Monet Jaguar 2 on all streaming platforms. Go listen to it. And
Okay.
on that note, we appreciate y'all for tuning into another episode of the Crystal. Ooh, not
That
the
sounds
I was about to say the Crystal Show.
That
Not me
sounds
foreshadowing.
fabulous.
Ooh, not me
What a
foreshadowing, y'all.
nice.
I'm about to kick off my own show. Good God. Thank y'all for listening to the Tea and Crystals podcast. In all seriousness, it has been a fantastic episode, Crystal. Thank you so much for all the message you bring to the table every week.
I appreciate all the laughs you help me, because
Yes. And we
you're the funny
appreciate y'all
one.
for listening. We appreciate y'all for listening. We appreciate
Mhm.
y'all for showing love on social media,
Mhm.
for replying to stories. I had so many good conversations over the past week, just leading up to the release of our first episode. So I really, really appreciate y'all interacting. It does not go unnoticed. And I hope that y'all spread the word. If y'all enjoy it, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a judge at your hearing, because I know some of y'all be in the courthouse. No judges. But most importantly, make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms. We are on YouTube. Search Tea and Crystal Podcast. You can also find us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast. Find us on Facebook at Tea and Crystals Podcast. Also find us on the Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. We may be doing some anonymous questions over there. We may give you the opportunity to submit some topics or submit your own mess. We would love to hear it. If you want to submit some gossip of your own, if you want us to give you some horrible advice, if you just want to share how you feel about the show, or if you just feel like in the middle of the night, your man be getting on your nerves and you want to get something off your chest and you just want to vent, send it to teaandcrystal@gmail.com. That's teaandcrystal@gmail.com. Remember that you can stream us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts as well, and watch the video version on Facebook and YouTube. Crystal, is there anything else that you want to tell the people before we get the hell up out of here?
Yes, just a quick reminder, we will be doing a true crime episode sometime soon. I don't know if it's going to be the next episode or if it'll be a couple weeks, but we are going to be doing a true crime episode. It's going to be based on the Netflix documentary Take Care of Maya. It's been out already, so if you've seen it, great. If you haven't, definitely go check it out. Or if you just want to hear us talk about it, we're going to recap it a little bit. We're going to give our thoughts and feelings about it, and talk about the dramatics of it. But yeah,
be ready to comment because that's where the conversation is going to be had.
yes,
that episode will probably be in 2 parts, right, Crystal?
Possibly, yeah, because we tend to ramble when it gets to true crime.
Yeah.
But I will say, again, if you have already seen this, or if you see this before we put the episode out, and you have thoughts and feelings, and you send us an email, put it in the comments, send us a DM or something, whatever, but get it to us, and we might even be able to read out some of these and talk about it a little bit. So.
Sure can. And if you've already watched it and you hear this episode, send us what you think at the email address, and we will mention that in the first episode that we do. We want to have this be a fun dialogue between us and the listeners. So
so like what I just said.
Oh, you know what? And we had a conversation before the podcast started about paying attention. What's over here like, huh? You know what? And on that note,
now
thank y'all for listening and paying attention. Okay, because obviously we do not.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.